Good morning, everyone. Okay, so today I will be covering the hotbox sauna I just installed at my buddy Corey's house. We'll be setting up the big camera here. We were getting some shots, so I'll just hit record on this bad boy. That way we get some nice visual there. Looking beautiful. So we have a towel rack right there, and it's got a window option, and then we have a backrest and a butt cushion. We went ahead and put the custom mantra as aim small, miss small, which is pretty cool. All right, so the hotbox was designed for those who are limited on space, but also don't want something like a big structure to maintain. So the cool part about the hotbox saunas for us from a build standpoint is that it's small enough to where we can finish it out like a piece of furniture, whereas like a barrel sauna, it turns into more of a shed. So you can't really focus on all of the little details like you can when building a smaller piece. It's all 100% Western red cedar, so this material is going to hold up over the lifetime of your sauna. So Western red cedar is the best material to put outside. It's right up there with teak, but it does really well with heat fluctuation and moisture fluctuation. So the benefit here from Western red cedar is that it's going to last forever. So it is a lot more expensive compared to other materials like hemlock and pine, but it is the best sauna material for sure. I think it's super important for people to invest in good material, because it won't end up being a waste of money in the long run. So this option has a window, so we use this little window here, and this is so you can frame out a specific point of view. So this is really cool if you want to isolate a view of whatever is in front of the sauna, and or we had customers just put this right up next to their window, which I think is pretty cool. That way the only view you see is right outside of your window. You don't see the blinds or the window frame or anything like that. It's meant to really complement your space. So, the design of it is meant to be modern and sleek, not just to look like a box. So, every model will have these extruded aluminum rail systems. And so everything looks nice and finished. And then you have the aluminum pieces down here that make up the track and trolley system. So the Western red cedar, the pink hue and the browns and the clear pieces and the stainless steel, they all blend together nicely to where it looks very luxurious, very high end. And with our joinery, which is a little nuanced detail, but the 1-inch tongue and groove, each panel fitting into one another as joinery, it just really makes for a nice looking piece of furniture. So that was the idea there, is to really complement your space, whether it's in the gym or on a patio like this, or the centerpiece of your house or your condo. So that was the idea there. We just came out with these towel racks. So this right here will hold 4 rolled up spa towels. Highly recommend using a towel whenever you use your sauna. My wife and I will keep a rack right outside the sauna, and this towel rack can really go anywhere. So you can put it over here if you wanted to, so you can have like a drink or your phone or a sauna hat. It can go pretty close up next to the sauna door, and everything will still roll. Or you can have it more so in the middle. You can put it right here. So, it's at an arm's reach if you want to put your phone or your water bottle. We have our backrests. So these things are nice and curvy to support your lumbar support. We went through quite a few different versions of these before we found the right curve. And then we also have the hemp and wool butt cushions. So these are 100% hemp and wool, so they won't harbor bacteria or get nasty or have any mold on them. And it just gives you a nice little cushion for your butt. So it's 3.5 inches of wool, so it gives you a nice cushion for your butt. And then when you're sitting in the yogi position, it actually takes a little pressure off of your ankle bones. So the cool part about our saunas is that they reach traditional temperatures on 110 power. So that's the main thing that sets us apart. The temperatures get up to 220 degrees plus. So you can get them up somewhere around 250 if you really want them to. But it's an efficient space, and you're getting the adequate temperatures in order to induce heat shock protein. So that's the main focus here. And then we just dialed up the sexiness with the design, with the grab handle, the custom sauna mantra, and everything in between. So you can have your legs out straight, so it fits anyone to about 6'3", or you can have them in the yogi position, cross-legged position. That is the hot box sauna. Trying to think if I can think of anything else. Oh, yep. So every sauna will be finished with MCT coconut oil, and this is just so your sauna will last, the color will stay rich, and it will wick away any moisture that hits the top of the cedar. So cedar is really good with moisture just at default, but we put this extra layer of MCT coconut oil on there. Just so the sweat beads up on the inside, and if it's outside, the rain will bead up. If it's not covered, we highly recommend covering them just to increase the longevity. We actually have a cover option that's tailored to the sauna. It's a black cover, and it's woven canvas. It's a blend, and it's extremely weatherproof, but it's also breathable. So that's one of the main things there. You can't just put a tarp over the cedar. It all needs to breathe naturally. So if you do, essentially it'll just trap all the moisture in basically a plastic bag, and it will cause the wood the grain to pop a little bit. And so we highly recommend going with something breathable like one of our covers if you really want to protect the life of your sauna if it's outside. So we have a high temp silicone gasket. It's a sweep seal, so that's all around the door, and that just covers the 1/4 inch gap that it takes for our cockpit style door to roll. So it sweeps nicely. It's hidden in between the trim pieces, and it really does a good job of retaining the heat that much more. So our value is really important to us as well for the performance aspect, because obviously it gets really cold, and so if it gets down in 20 degrees, 0 degrees, we want this thing performing really well. So you can have it outside in the wintertime and it will perform. And one of the main reasons is because everything works in tandem with our heater. So we have 4 incandescent bulbs, all of the heat reflection stainless steel from that heater, and then everything holds heat like a battery, like even the Faraday cage. So the top stainless steel reflection panels, those all have wool insulation in them. So all the heat really goes towards the ceiling. So we did our best to push that back down towards the user. And another really cool feature about the hot box that I believe outperforms all other saunas is the fact that it's low profile. So yes, it's compact, it's going to heat up quicker on 110 power, but it's also a lower profile. So you would normally sit in a sauna anyways, whether it's on a bench, if you're sitting cross-legged, or in a chair position, or with your legs just out in front of you. The only problem with stall saunas and bigger saunas is that you lose a lot of the heat in the ceiling. And so with this, we solved this issue. You're in this bath of heat therapy. So all of the heat gets pushed down towards the floorboard, and you're absorbing this space, maximizing the heat all around your body. Another cool thing that we focused on as far as the design is the plug hole right at the bottom. So instead of having some exterior plug sticking out, we focused on keeping everything super sleek and hidden. That way it really just complements your space. We're big on feng shui and having the space look really nice and elegant. So you can snake this cord. It's 12 feet long, so you can snake it underneath the floorboard and plug it into the sauna behind you. If you have a ground plug, it'll be nice and hidden. It'll just look like it's floating. Or it can just be snaked around the front and then plugged into the back, where everything is nice and clean, and you're not worried about tripping over a cord or having it dangle out the side. We've seen a few, few of our knockoff designs that just put the plug right on the outside, and we just think that it's tasteless. We believe that, every little detail will complement your space. So when you buy a hot box, you're supporting our domestic supply chain. So everything you see here is our obsession to source everything we can in the U.S. So our Western Red Cedar's out of Portland, Oregon. It's a mix. Some of it comes from Canada, some of it comes from Idaho, some of it comes from Washington. So our custom extruded aluminum rails, those get molded in Georgia. Our brad nails, our stainless steel brad nails, so all the little finishing nails that put our trim pieces on, those are made in Chicago. Our stainless steel pieces like the heater and the reflection panels in the ceiling, all of that gets made from our metal manufacturer in Wisconsin. And then a lot of our components are from Reno, Nevada. All of our star fasteners and our spot nails. And then we also have our wool insulation is from Reno, Nevada as well. So a lot of locally sourced products here. And then, of course, everything is built by us. So, you're supporting skilled jobs. Our manufacturing facility isn't this monotonous environment where we're just mass producing products. Every sauna is a little different, although they're all very similar. The craftspeople working on these things have an opportunity to learn new technology like CNC machining and traditional carpentry. So when we put these things together, they're accurate down to the millimeter each panel because we utilize a CNC machine. But when it comes to the finish and the love that goes into polishing these babies up, it's all traditional carpentry. So the cool part is that the guys working in our shop, they get to build something that's obviously beautiful, but it's for someone that is investing in themselves, who is trying to put something in remission, or is also just supporting the American dream here. So there's a lot of pride that goes into these things. So our saunas also come with 6 leveling feet. So you can put the floorboard down, even if it's on, uneven terrain like these pavers. You can lift one side up and then unscrew a leveling foot to even everything out. So that's one of the big things there. And then also that leaves us about 3/4 inches of a gap from underneath the sauna. That way it's all sitting on 6 feet opposed to just straight on the wood. Therefore, it's got a nice airflow on the bottom. Even our outdoor covers, they go down and they stop about an inch off the ground, and that's so all of the air can circulate underneath the sauna, and this will just increase the life of your sauna. These little details go a long way when building structures. It's very much like a house. Like, you want a good foundation, you want a good roof, and you want the whole thing to be able to breathe. So that was one of the main things there. And then as far as the structural integrity of this thing, there's nothing else like it. Pound for pound, it's the strongest sauna by far. And, we were able to cheat a little bit because the structure is so much smaller than most saunas. Therefore, by default, it's got to be stronger. Everything we do to build our saunas is very unconventional in the sauna realm. Like, these pieces are actually notched and pocketed into our panels. So everything's tied together like a boat here. And everything right here, all of these pieces, every single board is joined together with a 1-inch tongue and groove. So aesthetically, it looks really cool. But from a structural standpoint, it's very strong. So everything is tied together like a boat. The downsides, they are a higher ticket item, so they are expensive for most folks. But we believe in the buy once, cry once mentality, and that's what this is here. So for me personally, I usually save up. I don't buy as many material things or, spend my money over the course of a year. I usually save up. My wife and I will split something together. That's something that's going to serve us, and that's what this is exactly. So, that was a big deal for us. Is we could make it cheaper. Like, we used cheaper paneling, we made it lighter, and we didn't use as many components in the heater and the track and trolley system. It was just a drawer slide system before. So when I was making them in my garage, like the first version of it, it was affordable. But since we've evolved and we've tested, and we've had about 300 of these out in the wild, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from our customers, over 2 years, 3 years of testing, we've landed on our flagship, and this thing is built like a tank. We wanted it to last forever despite the cost. So our customers, if they're willing to take a chance on us and invest at a higher dollar amount, they know that they're getting something. It's not going to be a waste. This thing's going to last the life of their family, and they're not going to have to throw it away in, say, a couple years. So that's one of the main things there. And then huge, very important for us is that it is accessible. So the whole point of this sauna design is to make it as accessible as possible so that you use it more. So the downside with like a bigger sauna is that they take more power to heat. They're harder to maintain and keep clean, and it takes a second. It takes a while for you to preheat a bigger space. And so in order for it to be extremely consistent, and we've even gone down to having a scheduled Wi-Fi adapter that's also included in the sauna, or you can have a manual version of that if you don't want the Wi-Fi. But basically, you can have this thing on a schedule where it's on, for 2 to 3 hours a day without fail. That way you know that you have your sauna ready for you to hit your therapy session. So with it being on a schedule, you can have it turn on for about 2 hours and every day at the same time. And then you can jump in, within the hour of the preheat time in order to get your therapy session. So the idea was accessibility. So we didn't want to take up too much space. We wanted it to be close to your workout environment or convenient for you to jump inside of it in your space. If you have this thing in the privacy of your own home, you can just jump in buck naked and get a session in for the night, hop out, shower, and go to bed. And that was like the main thing there with our design, is making it as accessible as possible. And it kind of goes alongside with, keeping your running shoes right in front of the door so that you're more prone to go for a run. You should be tripping over your exercise equipment, I think. And this was that exactly. So we wanted it to be accessible, but also, we wanted people to, the inside of this thing is a little cedar sanctuary. So we wanted it to be inviting and a nice little zen space so that you crave it at the end of the day. Like, you step inside this thing and it's just a place for you to reset from the world, all the chaos that you'd been through throughout the day, whether it's work, your kids, your dogs, your partner. There's a lot of responsibilities, and this is just a way for you to decompress and just chill out. So the design of the interior was meant for mindfulness. It was meant to give you a nice little sanctuary. That way you can just relax and enjoy your treatment. So that pretty much wraps it up. That was a bit of a ramble session. I think that I hit every angle of this thing. And we love it. And our customers love it. And so it makes us proud of it. And the space that we're in, being able to build these things for people, the health and wellness space, is unlike anything that any of us on the team have ever experienced. And so we love it. We're obsessed with health and building things and designing things. And so we're doing exactly what we feel like we should be doing. And I think that goes a long way when offering, our customers a product. We're obsessed with design and structure and the build quality and sourcing our materials. Therefore, you get an amazing product with our stamp of approval on it. And then you get a lifetime of our customer service. So you will always have us to call or text at any time of the day if there is an issue or something's not fitting right, or one of your bulbs goes out. We have a pretty intimate relationship with our customers, and we welcome it. So anyone that's willing to come hang out with us in the shop is welcome to come check us out in Reno, Nevada. That's pretty much it. All right.